We're at 9,000 plus, and unlike milk, we won't spoil. So this is the spoiler-free version of our review of Avengers Endgame.
So brief synopsis is, right after the events of Infinity War, Earth and the rest of the universe has been decimated by Thanos' snap. 50% of all living beings have disappeared because of Thanos' grand scheme of balancing the universe. Now it's our hero's job to not only deal with the aftermath, but try to avenge those who have been missing and hopefully make things right.
It felt realistic. Like, what would happen if 50% of the world was gone? Up to now, you see the evolution of all these people and the characters. And that's what I really loved about this movie. They weren't like when you watch a TV show and the characters don't grow in the show at all. You know, I feel like here we've kind of grown with them. If you ever watched like the Harry Potter movies, you felt like they grew up. And here, even though they were all adults, we saw them grow and change and become different people. And the actors just did a really great job of evolving these characters and not just the writing.
This film in particular shows that better than any of the previous, because I see elements of that across the entire cinematic universe. Each film, there's a progression, especially with like Iron Man. Pepper doesn't want him being Iron Man. He wants to be Iron Man. So there's a lot of development. But this film in particular really tackles it the best, in my opinion, because they're all just trying to get by. It gives these like supernatural godlike beings a vulnerability that I don't really think we've seen much of. The biggest positive to all of these MCU films in general has been the performances, but in this one in particular, because there was such heavy material, the actors put forward such a great performance. And you really have to give credit to people like Bradley Cooper, because you don't even get to see him. He has to do all of this just with his voice, and his Rocket in this film really handles a lot of weight.
People like to say comic book movies aren't real movies and stuff like that. And MCU over time has made that be a fiction. You cannot say that anymore. And I think Endgame, the way they did this movie, you really can't say it anymore. Infinity War kind of got there, but this movie, I really feel like no one could say comic book movies aren't real movies with real acting chops.
To describe this film without spoiling anything, I would say it is an absolute celebration of the last 11 years of Marvel cinematic storytelling, because it's not just that it ends this massive story arc, it resolves all these little nuances, all these character details. It really gives something for everyone, I think.
We're telling you right now, this is one of those movies where no bathroom breaks whatsoever. You have to wait for it to be on digital release to pause it yourself to have a bathroom break. But if you're going to the actual theater, use the bathroom beforehand. Otherwise, go to your pharmacy and get the pens.
I've seen it twice, and these guys have seen it once. And I think that there are some slower parts that if you maybe run really fast, that you probably would be okay.
There's a couple spots where you're not going to miss so much that it's going to be a problem.
Exactly.
But
you're going to still wish that you were there. And I find myself, even looking at it the second time, there are just some spots where I thought I could sit back and like I was just like,
you're on the edge.
On the edge of my seat.
It's very dense. This film. Not in a way that's difficult to get through. It's not a slog at all. No. It's dense, but it's all pretty necessary.
I mean, it's all important information that you need for everything to make sense. And I will say, for those of you who haven't seen it yet, it starts off with like off. So I will just say that like, you just have to be ready for the movie to start and not be...
Take tissues.
Yeah, exactly. The actors are just that good. And I think it's one of those things where a person has played a character for so long that you know it's a part of who they are. It doesn't feel like they're acting anymore, like they're this person. From an actor's perspective, I'm just like, that's great. I love it.
So, a quick question for you guys. Which, if any, MCU films are better than Endgame?
I don't know. Because this is such a different beast.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It really is.
I feel like this movie and Infinity War are so different than the other movies, because each movie had their own kind of feel. Like Guardians of the Galaxy have that kind of whimsical feel. Iron Man has kind of that intense feel, you know. Thor went through kind of a whole big arc. Yeah. So their movies are kind of different.
The only films that even kind of come close, in my opinion, would be Winter Soldier and the first Iron Man, because it kicked everything off, and it was so unique and interesting.
Yeah.
We are all MCU fans, but as you should know from our other reviews, that we will tell you if it's bad. And this one, I feel like they really put in all of the effort. So it definitely is over 9,000. Between this and Infinity War, it's just amazing.
So I guess that's gonna basically wrap up our spoiler-free review. So make sure you stay tuned. Click over to the next video. I'm sure it'll pop up somewhere and let you know that that's our next video for the spoiler-filled Avengers Endgame review. And we're gonna spoil everything. So please don't watch it if you haven't seen it. As always, you can like, you can comment, you can subscribe. So leave your comments below. Let us know what you thought of the film. Don't leave spoilers in our comments for this video, please. Unlike a certain running back for the Buffalo Bills, Shady McCoy, we are not spoiling this film.
Exactly.